Welcome to The Explainer. We're here to break down complex stories into narratives that are clear, focused, and hopefully really compelling. Today, we're jumping into a story about ambition, betrayal, and the kind of enemies you just never see coming. And it all starts with a moment of pure, white-hot fury. So that raw, unfiltered rage, that's actually where our story ends up. It's the breaking point that shatters a very fragile alliance. But to get how we got there, we have to rewind. Back to the beginning. Back to a room just humming with tension, full of political predators and unspoken threats.
So, picture this. A huge political meeting for all the vampires in the city has just wrapped up. A really critical vote just went down, and now the real game is starting. Everyone's trying to figure out who won, who lost, and what in the world is going to happen next.
Right at the center of all this is one particular group, what's called a coterie. And you can basically just think of them as a team, right? A small crew of operators all bound together for power, for influence, and most importantly, for survival. And right now, their big job is trying to read this brand new political landscape.
So, two of the coterie members, Stefan and Zane, are doing what anyone would do in that situation. They're scanning the room, reading the body language. They see the prince looking awfully pleased with herself, which is a pretty clear sign she got exactly what she wanted. But then Zane catches a look from an ally, Orchidia. It's this purposeful, genuine smile that just screams, this was all part of the plan. It's one of those silent signals in a room that's just swimming in secrets.
Okay, so as the group leaves that meeting to go debrief, it hits them pretty quickly. All that political maneuvering they just saw, that's only half the battle. They are facing threats from inside their own power structure, and at the same time, from enemies gathering right outside the gates.
And the first shoe drops, and it's a political bombshell. They find out the prince just declared that key groups in the city now have to be blood bonded to her. And let me tell you, this isn't just asking for loyalty. A blood bond is a form of mystical enslavement. It is a straight-up tyrannical move for absolute control. And as if that wasn't bad enough, at the exact same time, they get confirmation of two huge external threats. There's a member of the Sabet, think fanatical, monstrous shock troops, loose in the city. And even worse, there's a corrupting cult of Setites, these snake-like vampires who thrive on vice and decay, operating somewhere in the shadows. And this really shows you the bind they're in, right? On one side, you've got this internal political threat from their own leader who's demanding this forced, magical loyalty. And on the other side, you've got this external, physical threat from sworn enemies who just want to burn their city to the ground. They are caught in a pincer movement, and all that pressure is about to tear them apart from the inside.
So the coterie heads back to what should be a safe haven to figure all this out. But instead of banding them together, the conversation just ignites a firestorm. It exposes this fundamental, violent disagreement that's sitting right at the core of their group.
It all kicks off with an argument about two former Sabbat members who've supposedly switched sides. Zane, he's the pragmatist here. He's basically saying, hey, hold on. We don't know the full story. Let's gather some intel, see if these guys can be trusted. He's looking at a potential asset, or, at the very least, a situation that needs a delicate touch, not a sledgehammer. But for Joshua, he's not having any of it. For him, there is zero room for debate. The Sabbath aren't just enemies, they are irredeemable monsters. This isn't a political calculation for him. It's a moral absolute. There are no second chances for the soulless. Period. And this is where the debate just explodes. Another coterie member suggests maybe they should keep this kind of Sabbath-related info from Joshua, to stop him from overreacting. And he just snaps. His reaction is furious, it's personal, it's absolute. This isn't about strategy anymore. It's about a deep, traumatic hatred that you just cannot reason with. And just like that, the argument's over. The trust is completely gone. Joshua kicks his own coterie mates out of his home with two simple, ice-cold words. And in that one moment, the team that was supposed to face down all these threats together just fractures completely. So what happens after a blow-up like that? Do they patch things up? Nope, not even close. With their alliance shattered, the members of the coterie don't reconcile. They just retreat into their own worlds, each one chasing a personal project, their paths splitting sharply after that one explosive fight. And you can see how differently they all react. Joshua turns inward, diving deep into ancient blood magic. The Undertaker decides to wage his own shadow war using animal spies. Stefan, ever the operator, starts building his own private criminal enterprise. And then you've got Zane, who just has to watch as his ambitions in the mortal world get systematically taken apart. Let's focus on Zane for a minute, because while the others are all building new projects, his world is actively collapsing around him. He's being left with absolutely nothing, which, as it turns out, is the perfect time for opportunity, or, something that looks like opportunity, to come knocking. One after another, the pillars of his mortal career just crumble. Venues suddenly cancel because of floods or protests or code violations. It's a string of suspiciously bad luck. His national tour, the thing he's poured his mortal life into, just evaporates, leaving him powerless and completely canceled. So there he is, at his absolute lowest point. His career is in ruins, his friends are gone, and his phone rings. It's a Chicago area code. And on the other end of the line is a powerful, manipulative voice from his past. His sire, the vampire who created him. And boy, does she make him an offer. She sees his pain, but she pivots right to a new, much grander purpose. She suggests he should just abandon his mortal ambitions and instead become the artist for something almost divine, to create the soundtrack of beauty itself for some mysterious figure named Michael. It's a whole new stage, a new patron, a new direction. And this leaves us with a really critical question. With his old life in ashes and all his alliances broken, this offer has to feel like a lifeline for Zane. But is it really salvation? Or is he just trading one set of problems for a far more dangerous and maybe even more beautiful gilded cage?